Okay, well, we're recording now. So good morning, good afternoon for our participants from North America and South America. Today is America's virtual meetup number 15, and we're going to focus this virtual meetup around our app builder, Vinyl, and using Harmony APIs. So this is number 15. We have done virtual meetup for the last 3 years. We started that during in 2020, and all the virtual meetup have been recorded and they are available for everybody to review. A few that might be interesting to review: product updates. So Vito Salvaggio, SVP of product, with his team, gave an update on where we are with the products. We also did an interacting with instant messaging applications webinar 6 months ago. We actually leveraging some of these APIs that we had back then, again with what we're doing today. So we're using the APIs to be able to interact within the application we're going to build in Vinyl. But those same APIs were used also to interact with Slack, could be with Microsoft Teams. So really, repurposing some of those APIs to make process more efficient. There was an update from Manoj, from our CTO, about engineering process and the maturity of our process. And there is all kind of information that we provide through those virtual meetup. The agenda is driven by our customers. So if there are things you want us to cover, let us know. Contact your CSM and or send to success@jitterbit.com and let us know what topics will be important to cover during those virtual meetup. We want this to be useful and aligned with where you're going with your product, with your implementation of Harmony, of Vinyl, eBridge, regardless of what product you're implementing from Jitterbit. So today we're going to focus around showing how to develop a simple application, then interact with Zendesk and Salesforce through the Harmony APIs. And really, one of the power of Vinyl is not just the low code or no code approach. It's also this ability to very easily, when combined with Harmony, to mesh together data from different systems, and it drives more process efficiency, cost savings. It's really something that we think is powerful for companies in order to be able to do things faster at a lower cost. The next virtual meetup will be December 20. We have not decided on the topic yet, and we hope to get some requests from you all on what would be valuable to cover. We do enablement, best practices, top tips, product demos, and then you're going to see today our architects presenting both some slide, but also showing you the product. We're going to also do an NPS survey. For the users, there is an NPS question in Harmony directly, but we're going to do an NPS survey. So as you receive an NPS request, please respond to it. Give us your feedback. What is it that we're doing well, and what is it that we can do better? So we have 3 architects prepared that presentation today. Jaime Delgado is in vacation this week, so he's not going to be presenting. And then Roberto Espinoza and Mayank Basin are going to take us through this. So I'm going to hand up to Mayank, and then after to Roberto, so then he can start by showing you what we did in terms of Harmony projects and Harmony APIs. Mayank?
Thank you, Philippe. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mayank Basin. I'm the customer success architect here with Jitterbit. Been with Jitterbit with over 2 years now, actually 3, completing in November. I come from heavy data integration and data warehousing background prior to Jitterbit, both on-prem and on the cloud. Worked with several data engineering and data streaming architectures with several different product vendors in the past. Also spent some time in doing some data science and advanced analytics use cases. Have been mainly focused on the healthcare, utilities, and retail side of the industry. Roberto?
Thank you, Mayank. Hello, everyone. My name is Roberto Espinosa. I'm also a senior customer success architect at Judabit. Been with Judabit since 2016, and I've had the opportunity of interacting with a lot of our customers since then. And my main role is to ensure the success of our customers from a technical perspective, making sure that you get the most out of the platform that we have, and ensuring your success and the ability for you to think in different ways as well, with our technology. Similar to Mayank, I have a lot of experience, been in this space since 2006, and it's a very exciting space and exciting times, especially with everything that we have to offer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen here. So you can see what are we going to be talking about today. So we're going to be doing three things. First, I'm going to walk you through the different operations and APIs that we have repurposed for this demo today. And these APIs are APIs that were used in a previous meetup, as Philippe pointed out. And we have not touched these APIs at all, are the exact same APIs that we previously used. And I'm gonna show those to you and tell you a little bit about them. After that, we're gonna transition to Mayank. He's gonna do a demo on our low code application app builder that we have called Vinyl. And basically, the business use case that we're trying to solve here is one where instead of actually having to navigate multiple systems for you to solve or get data from a customer account related, let's say, for instance, tickets related to a given account. Sometimes, tickets some account information may reside in Salesforce, but the ticket information may be in Zendesk. Then you have to log into one system and then go to the other system and so forth. So in order to simplify this, number one, in terms of time, and number two, oftentimes also in terms of cost, because you no longer need to have two user accounts necessarily for both systems, where all you need is potentially only very specific information from one system. So it's going to be one app that we have created using Vinyl, and Mayank is going to go over this app with you, and hopefully you will find it very useful and interesting as we have. And then at the end, Mayank is also going to discuss how to leverage the different components from Vinyl, like the data layer, the UI layer, and other layers that we have, and how we use these to accomplish the specific app that he's going to be demoing. All right, so let's jump into this. Let's discuss the underlying APIs. And as I mentioned already, these APIs are ones that we have built for Meetup number 13. Philippe already mentioned that we have this recordings from previous meetups. If you didn't attend this one, I highly recommend it. We basically created a very interesting integration where we were doing some integration using Slack to communicate with Salesforce and Zendesk. And for that particular meetup, we built some APIs, which are the ones that we are going to be reusing and that we have repurposed for this particular demo using Vinyl. So that's also speaks to the power of having a microservice approach to your business, where you can build an API once and then utilize it in different scenarios in multiple places over and over and over again. So the return on investment on that particular development that you do is going to be magnified, as you can see here. Again, these are APIs that we created probably 6 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, and now we're using the exact same APIs, not touches at all, and repurpose them for this particular application. So let me discuss. We have 4 different APIs that we are using. Okay, so the first one is the one that allows you to create a Zendesk ticket. Okay, so in this case, we have, as you can see on the right-hand side here, I have Cloud Studio, and it's showing the different operations or flows that are executed. And then, of course, in order to expose this as an API, we went to our API manager, and in literally within few clicks, in less than a minute, we turn these flows into an existing API that can then be called by consumers. Okay, so here we receive the request from a consumer, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to be parsing the incoming message. Okay, and in this particular case, the incoming message contains account or customer name, and also contains the ticket description, because our intent is to create a ticket in Zendesk. Okay, so we need the customer or account name and also the description. Those are the 2 things that we are interested in, okay, for this simple exercise. So we parse that information over here in this transformation, and after that we have this typical controller, which basically is the one that determines what runs next. Okay, so that's basically something that you're going to be consistently seeing in the different things that we do. All right, so from here, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding the account ID that is specific to this particular account or customer that we just passed, and we are trying to find it in Zendesk. Okay, so we get that information from Zendesk. Now, once we have found that account in Zendesk, we know this is the account that which we're going to be using to attach or to create the case or ticket for. So then what we do next is we're going to be creating that Zendesk ticket and assigning it to that particular account ID that we just retrieved from Zendesk. In that case, basically, we pass the description, we pass the account ID that we need, and with that information, we pretty much have created the ticket, and then we go back with a response of success. So we know that the creation of the ticket was successful. All right, that's number 1, the first API that we built 6 months ago, and we are reusing here. The second thing that you will see that we have used is the retrieval of Salesforce accounts. So in order for this thing to work, we also need to have access to the accounts in Salesforce. Okay, so in this case, similar approach. We have 2 operations. First, we receive a request. The request will contain some information that we need to parse. Now, in this particular scenario, we are actually interested in retrieving all Salesforce accounts. So we do have some filtering criteria, but we pretty much are interested in all the accounts, and you will see that in the app that Mayan will be demoing. So we retrieve those accounts, and then we put them together as a message, and then we send back a response for the API. That's basically what we do. All right. The third API that we're using is something similar, but in this case is a retrieval of a Zendesk ticket, because at some point we want to show those tickets in the app that we're building. So we need to have a way to retrieve that information on a regular basis. So this receives a JSON payload from the consumer, and once we have that payload, right, we retrieve a company name, and we use it to query then the tickets from Zendesk that are actually pertinent to that account. Okay, and the data that we are retrieving will be the ticket, the subject, the description, the creation date, external ID, and so forth. Things like that. Those are the ones that we're interested in showing. So we are querying those over here in Zendesk, and then we're going to be sending that information back to the consumer as part of the API response. All right, so this is the third API. And the final API that we are using is the one that allows you to update, and specifically in our case, to close a ticket in Zendesk. All right, so this is a very, very simple API, pretty straightforward. It's only one operation. So all we do is we receive a request. The request will contain a ticket number in Zendesk. And then what we do is we go ahead and we update that particular ticket. And again, as I said, in this particular case, we're interested in closing that ticket. So that's why we are just hitting this update and updating it as in the status of that ticket to close, and which effectively closes the ticket in Zendesk, and then we return with a success or failure response. So those are the 4 different APIs that we have repurposed, and now you will get to see Mayank demo this Vinyl app and the power of microservices and Harmony in action. So I will give it to you, Mayank. Your turn. Go ahead.
Thank you, Roberto. So let me start sharing my screen. Okay. So what we're going to be doing in the next few slides is I'm going to take you through some of the screenshots and some of the bullets that we captured, that what we actually be doing in the demo. And then I'm going to switch my screen and bring you guys over to the Vinyl app, actual app that we built, and go through several components that were used to build that app. So that's the first step of the demo. We're going to be creating a ticket using the app, and you'll see how that information is transitioned over to the Zendesk. We will also be retrieving all the newly created and existing tickets in Zendesk, but only for the active Salesforce accounts. So I'm going to show you the Salesforce where the accounts are active and not active. And then we're going to be doing some changes, propagation to the Zendesk from the Vinyl UI. So we'll close the ticket and you'll see that change getting propagated to Zendesk. And we'll also see all the tickets in Zendesk for a specific customer, an active account in Salesforce in a graphical mode. So I'll show you how that graph changes in the real time, when you change the account and things like that. So let's quickly go to the Salesforce screen. So this is our Salesforce sandbox. As you can see, there's a lot of accounts on the Salesforce, but we are going to focus only the ones that are active, that say yes here. So you will not see all the accounts in the Vinyl app. As Roberto said, there's a filter in the API that we are pulling only the active accounts. This is our Zendesk screen, and this is for the customer Komodo. And you can see these are the open tickets. For Komodo, we'll create a new ticket, we'll close the ticket. So we'll see how we do that in Vinyl UI, and that change gets replicated into the endpoint. So let's go to Vinyl. This is our landing page. This is where my training instance is running. We're gonna log in using my credentials. So sign in. And this is the app that we built. We called it ticketing system. So we're gonna go into that app. And this is the page where you're going to be directed. So when I click, as you can see on the left side, these are the 2 tabs. We're going to be shuffling between accounts and tickets. This is the account information that's coming from the Salesforce. These are only the active accounts. When I click on one of these accounts, you can see how that ticket information is changing in real time. So every time I do a click, there's a real-time API call that's going to Harmony and pulling up the information in real time. As you can also see when I click on other accounts, how this graph is changing in real time. All that information is coming from a real-time call from the Harmony. So the Vinyl app is sending a trigger to the Vinyl, to the Harmony, and Harmony is pulling that information in real time. This app is obviously built locally in Vinyl, and this is a single integrated view presented to the user. So it really doesn't matter how many source and target systems we have. You can have more panels here, accounts, tickets by account, ticket details. You can have several more. It's really a black box to the user because all that mesh is handled by the Harmony app, and you get a single integrated view, like a dashboard, like a complex or a simple dashboard on your screen. So that's the real power of the Vinyl. Uh, so we saw that. So let's go to the tickets tab and try to create a ticket. And before we even create a ticket, I want to show you, we did some dry runs in the past, and the power of, over the period of time, this data will grow. So sometimes it gets challenging to find the ticket you're looking for. So there's a search capability. So if I try a keyword and press enter, it will filter down the records that has that keyword, right? So once this data grows, this becomes very powerful. So let's go and create a new ticket, and let's choose an account. These are all active accounts coming from Salesforce. Let's use a subject. Virtual meetup, September 20th. I'll paste the same in the description. When I click on this save button, what's happening behind the scenes is Vinyl is inserting this record in Vinyl's backend, which is SQL Server. And we have an event associated with that insert command that whenever there is an new record inserted, trigger an event. And that event has some associated rule that I'll show you. And that trigger will call the Harmony API in real time. And that API has this Cloud Studio operation behind the scenes that Robert was showing you earlier. And that operation has a Zendesk connector, and that connector will propagate this information into the endpoint. So that's the chain of events that's happening, just to give you an idea of what's happening behind the scenes. Let's go back to the screen, and I wanted to show you what are the different components that are used behind the scenes to build this app. So this is the application inventory for all the components that are used to build a Vinyl app. Let's start with the data source. So a data source label is used to register a data source with Vinyl. In our case, we'll be doing those API calls. So we named our data source Jitterbit Harmony demo, but behind the scenes is all the APIs that we are calling using the app. Let's go inside the endpoint and see how did we register that. So if you can see, the Vinyl web service is really the URL that is provided to you from the Harmony API. When you build an API in Harmony, it provides you a URL. This is what it is without the endpoint, right? Because Vinyl expected to have the endpoint separate. So this is the URL, and that's the endpoint. If I concatenate this endpoint with the URL, just type account get all, that is exactly the API URL that you get from API. So that's how it's formatted in Vinyl. As you can see, the get count information and the get ticket information are get protocols. The update ticket, which we have a close ticket, and the create ticket are the post protocol. Right. So let's go look. Let's look into the tables, that how Vinyl is handling things behind the scenes. There is a concept of temp tables also in Vinyl, which allows you to build the same app without persisting information in Vinyl, right? But in our case, we wanted to leverage some of the events associated with the insert command. So that's why we use to persist data here in SQL Server. But there's a concept of temp table also that you can leverage if you do not want to persist information in Vinyl. So the parameter table is usually created no matter what. Almost 99% of the apps that you would create in Vinyl, this parameter table will be created by default. So we did not create it, but let's look at the ticket table that we create, right? So as you can see, this is the schema definitions that will be provided by Vinyl to the Harmony API, right? So like account description, all that stuff. But what's more interesting is these attributes at the bottom. This is a very powerful tool that Vinyl provides. This helps you to keep audit trail for any activity that you're doing in Vinyl. So who created it, what was changed, when was it changed, things like that. So Vinyl allows you to keep track of those changes because it has all these audit trail columns associated with the table, right? So, and let's go into the events. So we spoke about the events, that every time you insert an event, insert a record, there is an event associated, right? So the event that we used in this app is called intrinsic event, meaning every time you insert a record, it will trigger an event. So as you can see, there are several options, names of the event, but let's focus on the insert one because that's what we are using. As you can see, there's an action associated. Let's go inside that and see what did we do. As you can see, this is the information of that event. We have not used the validations, but you can obviously come here and do some validations. Things like, think about a use case that, hey, somebody's trying to give you more than 20% discount and he's not supposed to give that discount because that's not the rule. So that's the validation rule you can do here, that, hey, if somebody's trying to give you more discount, put a constraint and you cannot do that. So we can actually make the app so robust that a user, a human error, we can avoid human errors, right? By providing those rules and constraints. Let's look at the actions. So this is something that you are using in this app. So what we are saying is when the record is inserted in SQL Server, which is the backend for Vinyl, create an event. So let's go, and it's active, you can see. Let's go into that. And you can see this is the query. This is saying insert into the create ticket table in SQL Server and select this information that we are going to provide. Let's go into the rules. And you can see there's several kind of rules. As you can see, the one we are using is cross-platform CRUD. CRUD stands for create, read, update, delete. So you can do all those things here. This is how the table looks like behind the scenes in Vinyl in SQL Server. This is our source system. It's going to the data source. If you remember, the JB Harmony demo is the data source we register when we spoke about the data sources, right? And we can come here and look at the results here within the rules. I mean, these are all the tickets, that we saw earlier. This is a SQL that's going to be generated by Vinyl. There is no, you don't have to hand type it, obviously. You can always create some filter criteria in the SQL, right? You can use a where clause and create a filter criteria. There may be some scenarios where you have to look for an external ID from some other table. You can do a join condition here, things like that. You come to columns. I wanted to show you this. These are all the columns included, but I wanted to show you something that when you click on one of these, and if you want to leverage one of the functions available out of the box in Vinyl, you go to available functions here. And let's look for some specific function here. Let's look for a substring. And go to substring here. The reason I wanted to show you this is the same substring function may format or have a different kind of use in different endpoints, right? MySQL uses the whole substring. DB2 uses substring TR. Oracle uses case. So what I'm trying to show here is you don't have to know all the exact functions, how they are coded. As long as you know the function in Vinyl, Vinyl will translate that to all the available functions for specific endpoints. So you don't have to remember all this, right? So that's the power it comes with. It's available out of the box in Vinyl. Let's come out of this. And let's talk about the notifications. We did not build any notification for this demo. We wanted to keep it simple, but you can have email notifications. You can have an action. Like every time there is a delete action happening, I want the Vinyl to send me an email notification that, hey, a record is deleted, things like that. Or you can have a filter criteria. Hey, whenever the there is a price increase above 20%, I need to send a notification, things like that. So you can have those kind of notifications associated with the events, right? And there can be a business rule connected to an event. So all that, you can be creative and you can do all those things in Vinyl, and you don't have to hand code most of that stuff. When it comes to pages, so pages is something, the way it lays out, right? So if I go back to the UI, this is the UI, right? This is how the pages are laid out. This is a page, this is a page. These are specific panels actually, but this is the one page, right? So this is the layout. I can move ticket details over here. I can move the pie chart over here, and it's very easy to do that. I'm going to show you an example. If you go to the accounts tab, as you can see, this is how the page was laid out, right? I can move this over here. I can move it at the bottom, so you can be creative depending on the ask. If you go to one of these controls, this is where you're controlling ticket number, subject, status. So all this is all GUI, so you can change it, and you can change the width, the style, things like that, how long that panel should be, how wide that panel should be, things like that. So pretty interactive, Going to the menu. So menu is something that's created by Vinyl itself. We did not create it, but if you want to edit it, you can definitely edit it if you go inside the application. Let's go to the homepage menu. Things like if you want tickets to be on the top and accounts on the bottom, here. If you want tickets to go on the top and accounts at the bottom, it's just your personal preference. You can just change the order of these digits, right? It works in the ascending order. So, things like that, pretty interactive. We did not touch upon the security layer because of the simplicity of the demo, but we provide a very robust security layer. Just to give you a couple of examples, we have the capability to configure do single sign-on, SAML. We also have the capability to configure Gmail SAML, just a couple of examples. Pretty robust security layer, but we did not do it for the simplicity of this demo. So if we come back here and just go to Komodo, and see this, that's the record we created in the beginning of the demo, and it's in there. And if I go here and do a refresh of the screen, so what happened was it connected with Harmony API, send a trigger to Harmony API, and that connector associated with the Cloud Studio operation loaded that information in the Zendesk. And we can come back here and choose this, and we can close that ticket as well. Sometimes take a couple of minutes, but yeah, it will the same the fourth API that was showed to you, that will close that newly created ticket in Zendesk. With that said, I'll stop sharing and I will transition over to Philippe.
Well, thank you, Mayank. And I think we want to talk about how long it took to do that that demo. So let me go there and then cover that. So obviously that's a very simple demo. We wanted to show capabilities, and you can see my slide, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we wanted to show capabilities with creating a simple app that mesh data from Salesforce and Zendesk together, leveraging Harmony APIs. So the creating the project took about 3.5 hours. Then after adding the API, it's very quick, as you all know. So it's a minute per API to basically identify what we wanted in terms of API, what operation it was based on, and developing what Mayank showed into Vinyl took about 5 hours, and includes we didn't do a production ready type of application. We just wanted to show the capabilities, but it was pretty fast to put that demo together. so then we can show capabilities. So thank you, Mayank and Roberto, for taking us through this. So what you have seen, it's easy to create a new experience for employees or external users. The ability to bring data from different sources, and then providing you know, a more efficient way to basically do the process needed. So the alternative would be to go into several systems, several different clicks with more errors potentially. So Vinyl is a very mature product. We have developed more than 3,000 application use cases over the years. And from provisioning for sales, from compliance, you know, compliance application for services, background check for HR, or even a subcontractor agreements for procurement. All these applications are developed and ready to be used into different devices. So when we develop an application, it works in a web browser, but if you were on your phone, the screen will adapt in such a way that you don't have to, you can actually navigate the app. Obviously, the layout will be different, but you don't have to do anything to be able to make it work into different devices. We also have, you know, coming up on the 28th, we have a webinar where we're going to talk about a low-code application in a specific specific industries. I will share the URL. I'll post it in the chat if you're interested into subscribing to this. This will be recorded and posted onto our website, so you can review it. It will be a little bit more commercial than the presentation today, but it will give you a good sense of what you know, some more information about what Vinyl can bring to the table. So again, we concluding this virtual meetup. I hope it was interesting to all, and then you got some information that you didn't have before about what Vinyl does, what you know, what the type of application we can develop. Even so, it was a very simple use case. It usually takes a few weeks based on the complexity of the application to actually bring an application to live. And we do POCs if you want to take it for a spin. But in terms of virtual meetup, you know, we drive toward addressing requests from our customers. So if you have something you'd like us to cover on December 20, which will be the next virtual meetup, let us know. We'll be happy to put that together. Otherwise, we continue doing best practices session with our architects, health check as needed, architecture assessments. I mean, we're here to help. We have the CSA office hours on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. No need to make an appointment. You just join and you can ask your questions, and we try to address it as much as we can within that hour. So that's a lot of customers are participating just to one, listen to other questions, but also ask their questions, and then sometimes it helps getting unblocked. So we will post this recording to Success Central at success.jitterbit. If you need more information or provide feedback, work with your CSM. If you don't know who your CSM is, send to success@jitterbit.com or directly to me, and I'll be happy to address your request. On this will conclude this virtual meetup. Thank you very much for participating, and until December, stay safe and have a great day. Bye, everybody.